The topic will be driving procurement with contracts and compliance at the core. This session will be conducted by Mr. Pratek Mehta, Manager Business Development, smartContract, CLM. Mr. Pratek Mehta helps clients achieve their business goals by delivering high-quality results and exceeding expectations. He has successfully managed key accounts, developed new business opportunities, and led across functional teams. He has also contributed to multiple product launches, enhancements, and migrations, ensuring customer satisfaction and retention. He has strong skills in product life cycle management, project management, and customer relationship management, CRM. He is also passionate about learning new skills and staying updated with the latest trends and best practices in the field. With this, we have Mr. Pratek Mehta over the dais. Can we applaud him, everyone? Come on, let's bring some energy to the room. And with this, stage is all yours.
Thanks. Well, thanks for already introducing me. Very good afternoon to everybody. It's a warm afternoon, though the day started well with rains. So here we are. Okay. So let me start with some very insightful tips shared by Mr. Ding on balancing how outsourcing and insourcing should be managed. So great information there. Well, as already introduced, I'm Pratek Mehta. I'm here to talk about the effectiveness, the benefits that you would be getting through effective and efficient utilization of contract management in your procurement processes, right? So let me start by asking you a few questions, and if any of you are able to relate, definitely let's talk through these. So, has this ever happened with anybody here that you missed a renegotiation opportunity with one of your vendors when you were not able to track the renewal dates? Anyone? Happened, right? It's a generic scenario. Another question. Let me ask you another question. Do you ever happen to pay your vendors earlier than you actually need to? Because it's very often, it can happen to anybody that you are not able to be on top of the payment terms that you have agreed differently with different vendors, right? Now,
every aspect of somebody in a coordination. If you pay early, then you will get advantage of the money.
If at all.
25,000 crore happen with us.
Right.
Why should we? Our bank interest is 8%, and where if I reduce the 1% cost of my payable, it is a 12% plus. So I have saved at least 4% of that money.
Right.
Why should I not pay the advance?
But then
It's
only
30%.
if you have defined that in your terms that you would get an early payment benefit. If at all no, then you are going to disrupt the cash flow, and specifically for medium scale organizations, cash flow is a must, right? Now, I happened to be talking to one of the procurement leaders this morning at the booth outside, and during our discussions it came up that they didn't even realize a whopping 40 lakh rupees of discount which they could avail, as the vendor had already promised them initially when they were dealing with this particular vendor. But just because they didn't have an access to the key terms written in the contract handy, they never realized such a discount. And recently it came out, it highlighted in an audit that they were going through. So if any of you are able to relate to any of these challenges, you don't have to worry about it. You're not alone. If I refer to a study conducted by the World Commerce and Contracting, the companies tend to lose 9.2% of the contract value just because of the poor contract management. So if I take an example here, say a median contract value is about 10 crore rupees. So you are already sitting at a risk of losing about 90 lakh rupees just because of the poor contract management practices within the function, within the organization, right? So contracts are the key. It highly depends on how efficiently, how effectively you are managing your contracts within the function, that you will be able to overcome the said challenges within the procurement function, right? So you see, if you talk about any key item, any key detail of any kind of a vendor you are dealing with or any contract you are into, you would see renewal dates, they are in your contracts. You talk about discounts, they are listed in your contracts. You talk about payment terms or any other critical information that you would want to talk about, they are all written in your contracts. And if you don't have this information available, it's definitely going to be a problem. The challenges are going to prevail, right? So that's where I would say in any business, you talk about any business relationship with any kind of a vendor, contracts govern all transactions, each and every transaction that you would be processing. And if you are able to effectively manage your contracts, half of the job is already done, right? Just a second. Okay. So, managing these terms and all the other critical items that we may have, it could sound very overwhelming, because if you talk about procurement, you could already be overwhelmed with different systems that you have in place. You might be working on your savings pipeline management, you might be working on your sourcing to pay system, you might be working on the e-marketplace or whatnot, right? So would it be a good idea to have another application to switch to, or switch between different applications? If you ask me, I believe if you have a contract management system in place, which is which is capable of seamlessly talking to all the other applications that you have within the function, it solves the purpose, right? So a unified interface that I'm going to talk about, unified interface is basically the whole integrated workflow between different applications that you have at your disposal within the procurement function, is something that can help you improve the visibility, the transparency within the procurement system, and it can give all the stakeholders a holistic view of what is happening, what are the different terms, what are the different conditions that you have accepted with different vendors. Okay. So with this in mind, this is basically the back end to what we, how we came up with this idea of promoting this kind of an integrated workflow to the procurement functions. So as you can see on the screen right now, this is one of the integration use cases wherein a CLM is integrated with your source to pay application. So now the source to pay applications or the ERPs or the vendor management systems, anything could be there, right? So if you're managing your vendors within your source to pay system, within your vendor management portal, it could be any S2P or P2P system, including D365, including SAP, whichever you use, right? So here the integration can provide multiple control points. First, of course, if you're managing your vendors here, you're evaluating their performance in the source to pay system. There can be a seamless transition of these vendors. Whenever there is a contract that needs to be created, all this vendor information can automatically be picked by smart contracts, so standardization is maintained. The CLM can pick up all these vendor details, right? Second, the control point here is, let us say for any given transaction, you have blacklisted one of the vendors. You don't want this vendor to further work with you, but then the business team might not know. There could be many people who would join one after the other. They might not know there is no, the vendor which has been blacklisted. So here, the control point basically is the system can also block entering into a contract with a vendor which has been blacklisted. So then, if we move on to the other end of the integration workflow here, once the contract has been signed after getting through different approvals, the reviews, the negotiations and everything, the contract, the executed copy of the contract could also be very well required by different stakeholders in the organization from different functions who actually do not have access to your contract management portal. So the information, the documents, the key terms can also be transferred directly, can be pushed directly into your S2P system, and if there is any need to get the PO, the purchase order made available in the CLM, that can also be very well done. Now these benefits of the integrated workflow can also be further enhanced, further extended if you also want the whole arrangement to be integrated with your pipeline and savings management system that's there. Now in interest of time, I might not be able to discuss the whole event here, but then yeah, we can get into the discussions later on. But then these are the various possibilities of integrating your existing portals, your existing solutions with the contract management system, so you can get the maximum benefit out of it. Now, the integrated workflow is not just the benefits that you can get out of a CLM. A CLM can be much more. It can help you enable standardization overall in the intake process. It can reduce all the cycle time that you have in terms of the transit of your physical copies of the contracts and so much more. Now, going forward, so this is the conventional scenario, or I would say the current scenario of the integrated workflow, the benefits that a CLM can pass on to the procurement function. But then going forward, with the promise of further strengthening the benefits, different CLM players are also coming up with the newest of generative AI based use cases to get you the maximum benefit out of it. Now if I talk about the AI based use cases, there can be an AI assistance provided to the different stakeholders to be able to review the contract documents and pre-analyze what kind of risks they might be exposed to if they are dealing with any vendor agreements. There can also be some meaningful summaries of different contract documents created by the CLM system itself. So if you have any specific parameters in mind, a contract document could be talking about 100 different items, maybe 150, 200, whatever. But you have only 15 specific key items that are meaningful to you. The AI can assist you. It can straight away abstract that information and showcase it to you in a meaningful way. And not only this, with the help of AI use cases being added to the CLM solutions, there is also a meaningful queries can be passed on to the systems, wherein if you have any questions from within any contracts, you could ask it to the system and it would provide the information to you in a very natural language. So these kind of use cases can help the procurement further analyze their contracts and get into deeper insight of what is written in different contracts. So with that note, I would like to thank everybody for patiently listening to me. And if any of these ideas resonate with you, I'm right outside at smartContract booth. Let's catch up and we can discuss the details further. Any questions, please feel free to discuss. Right. Thank you, everyone.
All right, everyone, can we give him a huge round of applause for sharing such an insightful presentation? And I request Mr. Yashpal Narang, Director of Procurement, JLL India, please join us and present a small token of appreciation to Mr. Pratek Mehta for their time and effort they have given us today.